Hey, in this video, I'm going to be showing you a very important do and don't with a loose style watercolor rose. So this is something I see all of the time in my in-person floral watercolor workshops. When we get to the section on how to paint a loose style rose, the majority of people, so this should be an encouragement to you if you're a beginner, the majority of people will put too much white space between their petals, and so it looks like a puffy cloud instead of a rose. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to be painting with my size 6 brush. You could be painting with your size 16 or whatever, but basically I'm just showing you what not to do versus what to do or how to fix it. So I'm going to grab some water and load up my brush with some Scarlet Lake and Mars Black. So in my classes, a lot of beginners will be painting a loose style rose, and instead of doing these flatter C curves or petals, they'll do these really high arched petals all the way around the rose that make it look like a puffy cloud or popcorn. So in my class, I teach this basic shape where we're following a sphere shape, and a lot of people will unravel their sphere shape doing these C curves that are really arched or curved. And as they go around the center of the flower, the white space between each petal is just way too thick or wide. And it just looks a little bit elementary when the arch of your C curve or your petal is just super high like this. So it's definitely a unique style if you like this style. But this is something that when I see it, it just needs a small little tweak to make it look a little bit more advanced and a lot less puffy or cloud-like. So here's what I see a lot of and how to fix it. I'm gonna load up with the same color on my brush. And instead of doing this where we have a really thick amount of white space between our petals, all we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our little circular shape and start unraveling. And I'm overlapping or touching these petals on the ends and then slowly getting thicker with my C curves. But see how every end of my petal is somehow touching a petal in front of it, and the white space is a lot thinner than the one before. And I'm making sure that these C curves aren't too arched. So this isn't a tutorial on how to paint a loose style rose. If you're wanting to learn how to do that, I have a video all on how to paint a loose style rose, so make sure you check out that video linked in the description below. But when you go through that video, just make sure you're following this and ignoring this. So make sure you don't have super arched C curves. They're flatter and they're more overlapping. The white space between your C curves is really important, so you definitely want to have some white space. But the white space is just barely there to show you that it's a petal separated from a different petal. Awesome. And then we can go in and add our leaves. Okay, so obviously one of these roses looks a little bit more grown up than the other. So make sure your C curves are a little bit flatter, tighter, closer together. just leaving thinner slices of white space between each petal so you can see separation between petals. And then our rose on the left, the first one that I showed, is obviously a lot more puffy. There's a lot more white space in it, and it just looks a little bit childish. So as you're painting, I promise you, if this is your first time painting a loose style rose in this style, you're probably going to be coming up with results that look more like the one on the left, or big blobs of color. So just remember that it takes practice. Make sure you check out that loose floral or that loose rose tutorial linked below. Also, I have a free free ebook that you can download all on the Intro to Floral Watercolor. I go over color theory, basic shapes, a step-by-step of a rose, another step-by-step of a loose peony, warm colors versus cool colors, etc. So you can download this free ebook below. And this is the actual workbook that I provide for all of my in-person class students, so you get to have it for free. I hope you loved this quick little do and don't video, and you start applying it to all your loose watercolor roses, and watch the tutorial on loose roses as well. And thanks for watching.